More trades. Okay, so Bitcoin has broken down from that triangle that we were in, that I was talking about for a while, that I was saying that we might be. Let me explain it in a wave 2 correction. What am I saying? That this move from the lows, if we go on the daily time frame, you can see we moved rather impulsively, had a pullback and continued higher. This could have been our first wave up. And if we are going to look at it as a first wave up, then there is a possibility that now we are in our macro second wave. The macro second wave can look very bearish, and we pull a Fibonacci from the low to the high. The macro second wave can come as low as the 0.618 at 21.5. Now let's dissect this price action and go to the smaller time frame and say, okay, we did this move up. Now we are possibly in another 1-2 setup. Now looking at this 1-2 setup in a smaller dissection, we could see that we could possibly pull back anywhere between the 0.5 and 0.618, 0.786. You could see it on the screen. That would bring us between 25.3 to the 22 zone, 22K. I'm not saying we're going to go there right now, but we are forming a bearish pattern. We were forming a bearish pattern. I highlighted it a few videos ago that we are in somewhat an obscure head and shoulder. Nevertheless, it is a psychological pattern. It might mean we're breaking down. You could even look at it as a double top over here, or even as a smaller double top over here, and you could measure out the move and see it could bring you down to the 25K zone. Now, where we are at the chart, we are essentially at the value area low of this upper range. I have adjusted the value fixed range volume profile manually because it wasn't adjusted. Earlier it was probably somewhere here where you'd find the line slightly lower or a bit. Let's go back. It was aligned with this line, 26,886. Now at the moment, for this trading range that we're in, I have adjusted it, and the value area low is right over here. We came close to tapping it. We are there, we bounced, and if we are at the value area low, then we might bounce to the POC if we can hold it. Now, when we moved up, when we came down, I was explaining this. We came to the 31K in a first wave of a third big wave, and we pulled back in a correction. We would expect this to be an A, B, and a C coming down. I was saying that, let me go back here. Sorry about that. The 31K was the beginning of the correction. A coming down, B coming up, C coming down. And in this B wave, we had a triangle. A triangle consists of an A up, a B down, a C up, a D down, and I was waiting for the E, and we confirmed the E at the POC of the May 2022 range. Now we broke down from that. It's confirming, since we broke down from here, it's confirming that we may be in our C wave, and the measured move of our C wave, where we would expect Bitcoin to be headed next, could be from the top here to the bottom of the A wave and back to the high of the C wave, where it could take us as low as the 1-to-1 extension or even the 1.618. At the moment, we're getting a reaction at the golden pocket, the 0.618 and 0.65. We could come down to the 1-to-1 at 25.9 zone, and it can even be even more lower. We could go even lower at around the 23.3. The next level to watch for is the 0.786 and the value area low of that range that I had the fixed range volume set differently, and it was there. I would still think it's of some significant value. Nevertheless, we are hitting a support zone. We're very close to this zone over here. We are getting a reaction very close to it. We are getting slight movement to the upside, but I think we may at least come down to the 26,886 for a retest before we continue higher, if we're going to continue higher. If we get there and get a reaction, then we could look at our levels of resistance as shown over here. You could see the levels. They are still being respected somewhat. Now I want to take you to another chart that I've had for a while. I haven't looked at it for a while, but I've highlighted it a few times. The Fibonacci channels that I have on this chart, I believe. Just let it load up. Now, as you see over here on the 4-hourly chart, we were respecting this purple line, this part of the channel, this ascending line. It was respected. We came down and we broke through the red line. The red line was support. If we go back here, you'd see that over here, it was a point of interest. When we broke below it, we were trying to cling to it, and once we got above, we bounced. Now we are below the red line. If we can push up and get above in the next 4 hours, it will be at around 28.3, and it moves every 4 hours because we're on the hourly chart. If we move to the daily, I can give you targets daily. It could be a point where you could be interested in the short, as it was previous support turned resistance. We might be here for a while. It's at 28.3 for tomorrow, the next daily candle. It could be at 28.5 the candle following, and it moves so on, 28.570. Now, where I see Bitcoin going next, I can see this, that we're very close to the value area low. If we lose the value area low, then we might be coming down to this range where we had the fixed range volume profile of our entire range since the June lows. This range could take us down to the value area high of this range, and that will be coinciding over here where we have it around 25, I would say 25 even to make it simple, and the VWAP at 25.8. So I would say 25K would be my next zone of interest if we lose the 26.886. If we start running up, we need to look at both scenarios. If Bitcoin starts moving up, I know that definitely I would be interested in the point of control of the zone, where it's still at 28,022, and then it will be followed by this zone, 28,641, which was the value area high when the fixed range volume profile was set differently, but I'll still look at this as the beginning. So 28,000 even and 28.6 would be the next zones to watch to the upside. If we can get above that and reclaim this value area high at around 28.8, then we could be heading to the 30K zone, 29.8, 30K. Now let me show you what's the measured move of this double top. I won't even look at the head and shoulders. The head and shoulders is so bearish. Or I might just show you. The double top pattern over here, the measured move of this could take Bitcoin down to roughly 25.6, right at our VWAP over here. You can see this blue line that says 25.872. So somewhere around that zone could bring us right over there, and we could get a reaction if we come down there, 25.6, 25.8. Now this pattern that I was talking about before is a bearish pattern, and if we just pull a trend line over here and draw a line for the neckline, roughly somewhere around here, we'd say this is our neckline. Breaking below it would be very bearish, would be the start of extreme bearish, which coincides with the value area low at 27.2. If we break that, then you would be looking at this measured move down here. You bring it there, and that could bring you down to the 23,400. We still have a gap at 20K. We need to be aware of that. We don't have to fill it. I believe the Bitcoin CME futures has a gap also above at around 29K. That also may be filled. So we need to be aware of that. Also, if we go on the 4-hourly, we could see it. There you go. We have a gap right over here, 29,115 all the way to 29,500. Which is closer. 29 is closer than 20K. So we do have some important earnings this week. We have some important data coming in on Wednesday. CPI data, maybe a market mover as we sell off towards, if we continue the sell off into Wednesday, that might be a good sign. We might get a relief on Wednesday, good CPI data, and continue higher. But the CPI data forecasted is around 5%, and that wouldn't be a good indication for the Fed. So we will anticipate more interest hikes, and that will give a bad impression on the market. All right, that's my update on Bitcoin. I need to just look at one more thing. I want to show you that we had a 4 hourly bearish cross over here, printed out today, short signal. If you took it, well done. As I always say, when we have a short signal, we usually get a small move down, a pump, then a continuation. So I would expect maybe a move up to the POC, then continued lower. That could even happen. We have something else in the chart that I always indicate and I want you to be aware of. Whenever we have these quick moves down, let's go on the 15-minute where the candles will be highlighted better. You see this red candle, so far they've recovered almost 50% of it, but they could recover the whole thing, even the violet candle. So 27.9 isn't out of the question. Now you are below the 50 EMA on the 15-minute and you're heading up there. You got one rejection, and now this may be an opportunity to enter short with a stop above this wick over here, above the 27,640. You could have a stop loss there if you are to get a bearish reaction. But this pattern is usually a recovery pattern. We get a recovery. How much will it recover? It depends on your risk tolerance, but previous resistance can turn into support. That Fibonacci channel is right above us at around 28.4, 28.3. So we need to be aware of that. So even if we come up to the POC and even come on the hourly, where we have the 50 EMA on the hourly, that will coincide quite close with that Fibonacci channel that I was showing you, and with the daily open where you could find a rejection. Sydney is open right now. We might get a strong reaction from Tokyo and Hong Kong later on. Hope you liked it. If you did, hit the likes, subscribe to the channel, join the free Discord, and put down in the comments if you think Bitcoin's going up, going down, if you want me to do some TA on other assets, coins, indices. And if you really like to support the channel, link is in the channel description and in the video description. More trades. I'm out.